Welcome to another episode of Inside the Creative Mind of Amazing Amanda Mulder with me, Amazing Amanda Mulder. So, it's August. Anyone that knows me knows I'm a teacher. That means going back to school. After 20 years in education, am I ready to go back? No. Am I ever ready to transition back after summer? No. But am I ready to see some students again? Yes. And coworkers, and I like where I work, and I'm looking forward to having another good year. So, excited about that. And a positive is, at the library, they know me. The staff checking in today said, "Hey, I know you. Normally we have to do a lot to verify someone belongs here, but we see you all the time, so you must be legit." So I finally achieved notoriety at the library in the media lab. So that's an accomplishment. And let me take a second to say, if you haven't checked out my July interview with Funny Women of a Certain Age creator, Carol Montgomery, you're missing out. It was delightful. I learned so much. Carol, thank you for teaching me and inspiring me, and being the first woman to join me on an episode. I want to interview other women. I want to reach out to other female comedians out there. So now that I've been doing this for about a year, I'm thinking of other things to throw in, other ways to learn, and I'm really excited about the future. So stay tuned for some other surprises down the road. So what have I been up to in July and August? I've been writing it all out, and I hope I fit it all on this video. I've been quite busy, and I'm going to do my best not to get kicked out of the library again. Hopefully I get to tell you everything, and here we go. So in July, I visited my best friend in Myrtle Beach, Jenna. She's a teacher, and we did a lot of fun things. I love the beach down there. And we went to a comedy show at the Comedy Cabana. It was nice to see a comedian. The headliner comedian had a very physical but yet clean set. He was pretty funny and engaging. Now, I will say the other comedians were okay too. They did a good job. Some of them talked about places other than Myrtle Beach. Like one of them talked about Baltimore. I don't know how relatable that is. I lived in Baltimore for a while, so I could get it, but not everyone in that area had. So it was just kind of, they were different but good. There weren't any female comedians, but we still went out and enjoyed the show. It would be nice to see more diversity down there at the Comedy Cabana. But the audience was really disruptive. One woman was dancing, constantly interrupting performers, trying to get on stage. The performers handled the disruption by directly addressing, kind of roasting a little bit that disruptive person. And then they ignored it and moved on, and some of the staff talked to the person. But really, I know it takes a lot, but that person was so disruptive, they really could have been escorted out. But just something to always think about, like venues, what's going on there, what's the audience like, how do you handle disruption from, behaviorists? You can address it and move on. That's probably the best way. So they did a good job handling it. It just was like, don't be that person in an audience. But then after I visited my friend, I had August. I go to an event called the Pensic War, and it's with the Society for Creative Anachronism, and we do like Renaissance arts, arts sciences. There's fighting. There's all kinds of activities there. It's immersive. Like for 2 weeks, we're actually people in the Renaissance doing stuff. I'm on the performing arts staff where I help manage a theater, like a stage manager kind of role. And that has taught me a lot of things and has been a good way to like connect with other people. One of my most memorable times this year was there was dead space in the theater, like in prime time, like 8:00 p.m. A performer didn't show up. So I got up there and I just started telling some random comedic medieval tales from a book I was reading. Kind of like story time with Amanda, like you would see a teacher do. But it was really fun, and I thought it was really cool. And I am thinking of some ways to take like historical things and make them relevant and connect with audiences and maybe rewrite it in like a stand-up format. I was in a Commedia dell'arte play with the Confused Greenies, so I did get a little bit of performance in, which was fun. I taught a class at Pensick on what I've learned about historical comedy. I learned that the rubber chicken, the concept of a rubber chicken, obviously not the rubber, but originated during medieval times. That's a bit I found when I was at the Comedy Museum. So I've been just doing deep dives, researching random stuff. And I taught a class on that. I also taught about what I've learned through my modern experiences of comedy and how to take something historical and connect it to modern audiences. And it was really a hit. I performed even a stand-up routine, and it was great. It was a great class. And I do plan to teach it again at an event in May called Known World Commedia Symposium, which I'm on the staff for that too. So I'm going to tweak the class, and it's going to be great. I'm very excited about those opportunities. I performed at a Bardic Circle with Pirates. That was fun. I ran a grand masked ball. I also do a lot of Renaissance dance. I'm really passionate about it. I'm looking for a dance consort for upcoming projects. So if you know anyone in Erie that likes dancing, I'm looking to have my dance person. But the grand masked ball at Pensick is really cool. It had dance, like Renaissance dances, and then in between dances, the goal is to have Arlecchino did some things that was funny, and mini skits and stuff. Next year, I'm reimagining the ball. It's going to be earlier, and it's going to be an Italian carnival masquerade. So we're going to have different characters. We're going to have games. It's going to be more immersive. So I'm really excited about that. So yeah, Pensick was good. I had a nice time. I got to socialize a lot. I've been going to Pensick for like 24 years. So it's like a family reunion for me. It's really important. And then in August, I came back, and I've made it through 2 shows. I performed at this show called Fest Stop 6. And for those of you who don't know about this Fest Stop, a really nice guy, Brian, he just decides to invite anyone who's interested in doing comedy to go to a random destination and perform. So last year was an abandoned gas pump, and this year it was at a Motel 6, because it was the 6th annual time that comedians have done this. So I it wasn't that far from me. It was like an hour and a half, and I was like, I can do a scenic drive through the countryside to pretty much by Warren, Pennsylvania. And a group of us, there were performers were there, and it was very random. The hotel was not happy about having a pop-up comedy festival at their establishment, so we had to go across the street and perform at an abandoned pizza parlor. And the one guy dropped by, the owner dropped by to kind of see what was going on and let us finish. So it was an adventure. I had some good practice, got to know some people. There were people from Boston, New Jersey, West Virginia, Harrisburg there. So there were a lot of different people there. I couldn't believe that people drove that far, but hey, we all do strange things for the love of comedy. So, and I mean, this is my second time I did it. I mean, it does kind of take me back to my days when I started comedy. I dabbled in comedy 10 years ago and performed for a friend in a mall courtyard parking lot area. And that's one of my best, like one of my fundamental experiences as being a comedian, like really performing for someone that is like wild for you in a random place. So I do like the energy behind that, but I'm happy I didn't get arrested because that would have been bad. So overall success. It was a success. I met some people, got some more practice, had a really memorable time. And then yesterday I performed at a comedy sizzle event at Philly on the Rocks, which I've never been to before. It's an interesting establishment. But I was very fortunate to perform with some of my friends in comedy, and the setup was really hard for a comedian because their lights were bright, people were very far from the stage, so you felt very disconnected from your audience. And it is like a dive bar audience, so people are drinking or doing other things. They're not really there for comedy. So, but it was a show. I did go out to support the guild, and I was happy to be with some of my friends there, and it was a good mix of people performing. And any practice is good practice. So yeah, so I'm just very thankful for being included in that series, I guess, comedy series. It was the final one, so that was good. So, and then this weekend's busy. Tomorrow I'm filming for my friend's movie 52 pickup. I'm an extra teacher. I'm excited though. And I'm also in some rehearsals to perform at the Italian Cultural Gardens in Cleveland with the Confused Greenies and a Commedia dell'arte show next Sunday. So it's been really busy. I also have Renaissance dance going on hardcore right now. We've been my group, the Step Stately Dancers, have been practicing regularly since July. We're performing at the Gem City Renaissance Festival on Labor Day Sunday, so September 6th. And we also just randomly got into a opportunity at Corey's First Fridays. They're having a medieval theme on Friday, September 4th. So 2 great opportunities to come out and dance. If you like to feel like you're in a ball, like the magic of dance is so intoxicating. So I hope you can enjoy the fantasy with us. And yeah, and then I'm getting ready to go back to work. So lots of back to work stuff. Yeah. And the other day we didn't know when was our first day. So, all the typical stuff you go through as a teacher, getting back into the grind. Okay. So time for some thoughts. So when I just talked about in my recap about people being disruptive at a show, and to be honest, people are pretty disruptive online too. I know creators, I guess I'm in that category now. We have to pretty much have a thick skin because, it's people are going to say whatever, and they're going to do more of it because of they can do it pretty anonymously online. But it's really hard to stay motivated. Especially as a woman in comedy, when you film something online and then you come back and there are men, like white men, belittling, tearing you down, not really saying anything substantial. And it's like, guys, if you've watched anything I've really discussed in the last I don't know, year or so that I've been doing these videos, which you probably haven't watched them. You're just commenting to like get attention or whatever. You white privileged men are the problem. So, I mean, if you have something like generally to say, that's fine. Say it, message me, email me at mulder13@gmail.com and we can chat about it. But if you are just giving a general, like, you're not amazing, why is that your name? You don't know what that means. Or really, without any specific feedback, none of us care. I don't care what you have to say. I know leaving the comments immortalizes you as the asshole that you are, but I'll just keep deleting them because honestly, it's not important to me you're not important to me. You're part of the problem I'm talking about. So, it's like Love Island. Amaya from Love Island, she's iconic if you watch that show. She says, if I'm not your cup of tea, don't drink me. If I'm not your book, don't read me. I feel the same way about if you don't want to hear what I have to say, you don't want to hear who I'm interviewing, go to a different YouTube channel. I don't really care. But if you're confused about what this channel is, it's my video series of me growing and learning about comedy. And really, the bottom line is, it's just for me. It's really just about, it's me documenting my learning, my growth. I don't have a background in filming, and it's, you know, like my friend filming a movie. But I believe, like, to just put it out there, put these thoughts out there. It helps hold me accountable to be like, I have to video this, I have to document what I'm doing. And it's just me giving you the privilege of learning, growing with me, letting you into my world, and showing my journey. And I know I can tear myself down just fine on my own with, you know, anxiety or whatever. But you know, I know that I have work to grow as a comedian. I've only been really doing this deep dive for 2 years. So according to Steve Martin's book, he didn't really figure out stand-up comedy until 10 years. And that seems to be the pattern of a lot of us. A lot of comedians say that. It takes time. It takes practice. It takes just to keep going and doing it, and to keep learning, growing, expanding your arts. You know, I read a ton of books. I talk with people. I take classes. I'm trying to actually do all the things. You know, I'm not just someone out there that's telling jokes and not learning or growing in it. Someone told me, hey, you really are into this. You do a lot of like the academic stuff too on your own. Someone even thought I was in some class or program. I'm not. I'm teaching myself. And part of teaching yourself is to do it. Like, go out there, see comedy. Go out there every week and do it. Just like you're working out at the gym, go to an open mic and work on stuff. You'll connect with people, talk about comedy, read books, see other people doing it. Not to imitate them, but to learn about how people solve problems, how they connect with their audience, how they do humor, and then think about like how you can make it your own. You know, I know some ways I need to grow. I need to become even more comfortable with my material. You know, practice more. That way it becomes more conversational. That's something like I've been working on with my comedy coach, Mia. You know, working on, I am an observational comedian. I'm not doing one-liners. I'm not going to be everyone's style. But I do want to tell a story, and a lot of my stories have a point. I've been doing some material lately about dating, like some really, really crazy dating stories. And that's definitely a point. My one set that I've done recently is about like a white male guy who had a PhD, like mistreating me and like in so many ways. And a few people, including my mom, are like, that's not funny. That's kind of negative. But comedy, like I've said in some of my videos, is about like it's about healing. Some of the things that comedians say are from past trauma, or we're processing through things. We're trying to, we do go through, have a therapist and stuff, but, we can use art to heal too. And also to take back our power, as someone treating me so poorly, I don't really get closure. So my closure is to essentially take that power back and I guess sort of like, I don't know, make observational comments on how I was treated, which was pretty bad. So yeah, in my other set about being a teacher, it's like about the perils and struggle of being a teacher, like finances and stuff. Which some people don't understand, I guess, that humor in this area, because not a lot of people are teachers or have a job in addition to being comedians. So, but teachers out there get it. I performed at work and performed for many things. So I read, and my comedy friend Erin sent me this really good article about currents and how in society we can be swept away by different currents. I want to talk about it more in another video and give and tell you about the article and what I got from it. But you have to think about, like, you hear as a comedian, you hear all these things, but are they in tune with where you are floating and in the currents of life, or are you being pulled in different directions, and like, did you lose sense of yourself? So it's all kind of existential, but you have to think about like being true to yourself. Like I've talked with, like I said, I've had good conversations with Mia Jackson, who I took the comedy class on, and we chat about comedy, but about, connecting things back to your persona. Like, I'm a teacher. How can I connect things back to who I am and how I see the world? This is my persona. So like I have those elements in comedy that not some people don't have a comedy persona or whatever. So I do feel like I'm evolving and growing, and the only way for me to keep doing that is talking about what I've learned and practicing. So yeah. And I'm okay. I'm okay with people coming to me and giving me feedback. I mean, feedback doesn't mean, if it's done constructively, that people care enough to say something. But if it's just general, hey, I'm going to be negative toward you, yeah, I'm over that. And it doesn't, I'm just addressing it like a comedian did, address it, move forward, it is what it is. I know people suck, but there's good people out there too. So yeah, anyway, comedy-wise, I'm just going to keep working on things. I might be helping out with some kind of event next Thursday, but I don't have all the details yet, so I'm not going to talk too much about it. But I'm just going to keep getting out there and connecting, see what happens. So, and that's important. Like, even at Fest Stop, I met some really cool people, And you just never know. I've talked about it in other videos. You never know who you're going to meet or who you're going to connect with. So it's important to just keep doing it. Keep doing your arts. Keep getting it out there. So I'm going to end this video. I know it's a lot, but it's like 25 minutes. So it's time to end. And I will talk to you all again in September. Bye.